As a kid, I always saw myself as an activist. I loved to picture myself rallying crowds with a bullhorn or screaming into a camera that we demand change. One time, in elementary school, I even took it upon myself to lead a mini activist movement. It was recess, we were all outside, and one kid threw a snowball when he wasn't supposed to throw a snowball. My teacher had the audacity to say that we all had to go inside and recess was canceled. Infuriated by this gross mockery of justice, I grabbed my best friend Julia, and we formed a chain link of about 10 little third graders blocking the door to go inside. I'm pretty sure we also sang "We Shall Not Be Moved" just to really get our point across. Eventually, the teachers broke through and we all had to go back inside, but they never tried to take away our recess again, so I guess you could say it was a success. My parents dubbed it Occupy Playground. That's me up there in the pink dress. As I got older, however, I began to lose that motivation. It's not at all that I cared less about the problems in my community or on a bigger scale my country. It's just that I developed a mindset that it wasn't my place to speak out. That's someone else's job. Because I hadn't been personally affected by the problems becoming prevalent in my country, I felt I had no authority or no right to take a stand. Now, as a junior in Nyack High School, I find myself taking the initiative to be the leader more and more. I've finally come to the realization that just because I'm not personally affected by a problem doesn't mean I should sit this one out, so to speak. By talking to my friends and actually working to make our crazy ideas a reality, I found myself in leadership positions more and more as the year has gone on. Specifically, I've gotten involved in the Never Again movement pushing for stronger gun control measures, and the planning of the March for Our Lives and student-led nationwide walkout on March 14th. After the shooting occurred in Parkland, Florida, I was infuriated, like most of my peers. But what truly shocked me was how unsurprised I was. It had become pretty much a weekly occurrence for us to be talking yet again about a mass shooting, innocent children being killed in their own school. I wanted to join with the uprising of students fighting to make a change and fight with them to make sure the lives lost didn't just become another news cycle to be eclipsed by the next day's headlines. So I talked to one of my best friends, Lucy Jackson, who also happens to be our student body president, and formed a small group of other students who were equally dedicated to fighting to make change. We began to talk about organizing a school walkout. Through the many hours of planning and writing speeches, an issue that came up pretty often was how big our attendance would be. We all knew tons of people who cared about the problem, but whether they would actually get up and show that support through action was questionable. We live in a time when you can sign a petition with one click on change.org, or post a picture on Instagram with the hashtag #NeverAgain and sit back feeling accomplished. But we no longer have the privilege of passive resistance. If you care at all about a cause, whatever it may be, you need to turn that passion into direct action. The issue of gun control is unique in that it affects every single person living in the United States, regardless of age, race, gender, class, or creed. Although certain groups may be more at risk of gun violence, we are all in the running to be the next victim of a mass shooting. I'm not an expert on this subject. I didn't go to school and get a degree in the politics of gun regulation, nor have I ever been personally affected by gun violence. But I'm passionate about this cause, and I'm tired of waiting for other people to make the change that I want to see. I'm passionate about preventing the hundreds of completely unnecessary deaths that occur each year because someone was able to get a gun when they shouldn't have. And I'm sure most of you are too. The only way movements like this can be successful is if people like you and me answer the rallying cry of leaders like Emma Gonzalez and David Hogg. I represented Nyack High School at the March for Our Lives in New City, New York on March 24th, along with a friend of mine, Julia Trahan. I went to meetings discussing permits and guest speakers, and eventually I got up in front of a crowd of about 3,000 people and made a speech. The reason why I was able to get involved was because I was one of the leaders of my own school's walkout. My dad, Mr. Carroll, as you probably know him, posted a video of my speech on Facebook, which subsequently got me an invite to come speak here at your TEDx event. Because I took the simple step of talking to my friends to plan a walkout, I was given the ear of my local politicians. I was able to meet with my Congresswoman, Nita Lowey, and I'm part of a group of students who were just invited to attend a New York State Senate meeting in Albany. My point is that even the smallest action can have a big change. In the past, it's been easy to sit back and watch as others carry the torch of progress, but we no longer have that privilege, and it's our job, every single one of us here, to continue the fight. A friend of mine, Logan Mehta, started an organization called Youth Against Gun Violence, which has been steadily growing in membership from students in schools all over the state. Local activist leaders I know have started their own organizations to send letters and make phone calls to our local representatives, urging them to pass legislation that could prevent further mass shootings. If you care at all about a cause, whatever it may be, whether it's climate change or women's rights or even protecting the Second Amendment, it's your job to stand up and carry on the fight. Don't sit by and watch as the world around you changes. Our generation can and will be the ones to truly change the world for the better. Thank you.